to incorporate crime prevention and security protocols into their plans. He's been named Police Officer of the Year and Crime Prevention Practitioner of the Year. If nothing else, his titles are very long, etc. But, yeah, she really knows how to hurt a guy, more than one, huh, Kevin?
See that scar around?
In any case, folks, Kevin is a person that I spoke with some time ago, and combined with he and Captain Cerisi of Echo District, were a couple of very special people, and I wanted to try to see if we could boost some of the community spirit within Gateway and have Kevin as our guest. Please.
Well, thank you very much, Barry. As I informed him, that's a great bio. My mom wrote it. So you're going to have to take it on case value. He used a microphone. If anybody can't hear me, I'll give you my mom's phone number. You tell her your son is not a big mouth. She's been saying that for years. But I'm Kevin Farrell, and Beth Shell is one of our fraud investigators. I brought her here this evening too to tell you some stuff about fraud. We're going to talk about personal safety and identity theft. And one of the handouts we have here is we have a program called Power Against Identity Theft. It's called PAID, which means somebody steals your identity, they get paid for it. Years and years ago, as a police officer, we used to tell people, we want you to lock up your valuables, your cash, your jewelry, lock up the stuff in your house, your silverware, whatever it might be, because somebody might come in and steal that. But we're still telling people that, but now we're telling them, lock up the things that make you who you are. Social Security, driver's license, credit cards, bank accounts, tax returns from previous years, all your vital information on it, anything whatsoever. You have to keep those locked up too, because that has more value than the things that used to be in your house, your silver, your jewelry, your cash, your gold, whatever. I can rob a bank and get $1,500, $2,000, rob a 7-Eleven, get $100. I can steal your ID and literally get, and you're going to see this, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay, I can make you me in no time whatsoever. All I need is some information. I can get your name. With the internet today, go to the yellow pages, go to the white pages, find a business, find somebody's name, get in there, get your address. I can find your age. If you Google, get more information upon you. Go in there and say, hey, I lost my driver's license. This is my name and address, blah, 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 blah. We take a picture, I get a driver's license, apply for credit cards, apply for debit cards, open up a bank account, put $100 in there, get some checks, and next thing you know, it's your name and everything. And I got pictures of myself on a driver's license, pictures of myself on a credit card, pictures of myself on a passport with your name. Pretty easy to do, not difficult. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. So these things are valuable to you. So you have to make sure that you know what you're doing and who you're giving the information out to. Some of the things that we speak about in regard to ID theft are very simply this. We have tests here, and I'm going to give you the tests and let you answer the question yourself. But you want to minimize it. You want to make, first of all, how do people get that information? Well, first of all, they'll steal it from your rubbish. Okay, we call it phishing. It's P-H-I-S. And what happens is when you put your rubbish out there and you go to work and or you go to the store and you're waiting for the rubbish truck to come, somebody comes by. Now, if you put stuff out there, metal, we have what we call junkers. They come by and they pick up stuff, but if they have an old chair, they'll pick it up and maybe refinish it and sell it at a swap meet. But they'll take your garbage and look through your garbage. And all that junk mail you got from last time with all the information. Hey, sign up for this. Here's a credit card thing. You want some guest checks, you want some vacation checks, and you throw those in the garbage. That's information that these people have, and now they can use that information, they can use that stuff and become you. So you want to make sure that if you're going to put anything in the rubbish, that you shred it. Now, shredding, you can buy shredders at Walmart or someplace, anywhere from $20 all the way up to $100, depending upon what you want at Office Depot and some of those things. If you don't have much mail, a lady told me one time what she does is takes the stuff up, carries it in 2 or 3 pieces, and puts it in a pan of hot water in her sink, lets it soak there, pours the water out, and she's got a big ball of paper mache. She said, if someone wants to peel that back, they're more than welcome to. It's all blurry and ink runs and everything, and gets together. Remember back in 1979, when the Iranian U.S. Embassy was taken over in Tehran, we shredded all our vital information. They took those pieces of shredding and meticulously put everything back together. Okay, so they had a lot of classified documents from the United States Embassy, from the CIA, all the offices over there. They put them back together. Oh, they might have missed a piece or two, but they could certainly make up the words and what they meant. So you have to be careful. Make sure you shred it. Make sure you tear it out. Make sure that information is not there. The next way people do it is mailboxes. Okay, a lot of mailboxes. We have rural deliveries where you have the mailbox in front of your house, and you go out there and you pick up the mail, and you might put the mail in there and pull up the flag. Well, that red flag is actually a red flag for the bad guys. Because when you're not there, they're going to come by, see that you got that red flag up, and say someone's sending something. They'll open that up and take it out. Now, maybe you paid your bills. Maybe you paid your electric bill. Maybe you paid your credit card bill. Whatever. Maybe you got checks from the bank, and you're sending them. They're going to find that information and steal that and use that against you. So that's one way. Do not put it in your mailbox. If you have to drive to the post office, I know it's a lot harder after 9/11. They don't have any mailboxes like they used to, the big blue ones on the corners of a lot of streets and by shopping centers and businesses, because people were afraid bombs would be put in there. So now we have to go to the post office, or some businesses take it. You have FedEx businesses and places where you go get boxes and stuff like that, Postmarts, et cetera. They pick up the mail there, et cetera. A couple other stores do, some Bell stores do and stuff. And some of your banks will even take it. But make sure you know what you're doing with the mail. Don't leave it out there unattended, because that has very vital information that you don't want anybody to steal in regard to that. If you go and get checks from the bank, ask them to mail them to the bank and have the bank call you. And you just go down to the bank on your normal day, wherever you do your banking, and pick them up. They'll hold them for you for a week or two. Okay? Don't let a box of brand new checks from your checking account be in your mailbox, and the mailman comes at 10 o'clock in the morning and you don't get home until 5 or 6 o'clock at night. I got 8 hours to steal that stuff. And it happens. It happens. Post office and the postal inspectors have a heck of a time trying to find out what happened, because, well, it was mailed. Yes, it was mailed. Okay, the mailman says, yeah, I put it in there, and the next, it's gone. So you got to be careful about that. Okay. You might want to opt out of all marketing things for junk mail, marketing programs, including convenient checks. Call your credit card companies. Call your credit card companies and say, I want to opt out of this. And on this, I'm going to pass these out here. On this, we have telephone numbers, email addresses, and physical addresses where you can send this information out and ask the people, hey, I want to opt out of that in regard to that. Okay. I heard the pastor saying that he was in overseas. And he just got back from overseas. People go to Europe, they go overseas on vacations, and what do they take with them? Well, they take a passport, because sometimes they need that passport and stuff. Don't put it in your pocket. Carry it. You go to the auto club and some travel agency, they would sell little packets that you put around your nylon, usually, or canvas, and it's a chain or a necklace. You put it around your neck and put your valuables in there. Keep it close to your body. You keep it in your pocket. My dad had a wallet, and I'm an only child. So as I looked at that wallet, it started getting bigger and bigger, and I thought, well, it's a lot of money. I'm going to get that one day. And as it got bigger, he put rubber bands around it. Wow, boy, that's really low. I said, what do you do with that money? He said, it's not the money. He said, I got all kinds of knickknacks, and I got credit cards, got my driver's license, I got notes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He said, but I said, well, why do you put the rubber bands on it? He said, oh, it's simple. He says, so somebody can't slip it out of my pocket. Take my pocket. He says, the rubber bands put friction on the wallet. If you got a wallet, gentlemen, you know that if you've been sitting on it, you drive it in a car and stuff, it gets shiny, it's slippery, it's a lot easier to pick out of your pocket now than it was when it was brand new. So that's just one little concept that you want to use to make sure that no one picks your pocket. Now, I've seen on TV, and people have asked us throughout that, hey, I got credit cards in my purse, I got credit cards in my wallet. Can somebody come up and read my credit card? And the answer is 98% no, okay? Because you have a magnetic stripe, it doesn't emit any signals. So someone actually has to really get up next to you and bump into you, rub against the wall here first, just like a scanner does when you slip it through the scanner, a credit card thing. However, there are new types of credit cards coming out with radio frequency ID chips on them. And it's pretty easy. Years ago, the mobile gas stations had one. You could, little part of a keychain, just swipe it in front of the thing, and it activated your account, and you just put in 20 gallons of gas or whatever it was. We have the same thing here. These activate at all of our substations at our headquarters, and it allows me to get into certain places. Okay, it doesn't allow me in narcotics, doesn't allow me in the armory, doesn't allow me in certain other places. Other people can get into those, depending upon what their need is, but you can code it. So it's just, this is a radio ID chip. It's constantly emitting a little tiny signal that it reads, and it's a proximity card. These new credit cards have them on the chip. The way you can tell is on the back of the credit card, it will have like a little radio tower or like sound waves going out on both sides. And that means that you're transmitting all the time. It's just a little tiny chip, puts out a very, very minute signal, but it can be read, so you don't have to slide your credit card through there. A lot of casinos in Las Vegas are doing it on their chips because now they can tell at a moment's notice, they push a button to know how much chips they have in the house, how much are in a bank, and how much are out on the tables. They can tell at a moment's notice what their take is on that time. So that's how some credit cards can do it. Some people actually take the credit cards and wrap them in tinfoil. You don't have to do that. If it makes you happy, that's fine. You really have to. But they even sell wallets now that are made out of aluminum that you can put your credit cards in. Because people that do shoplifting, they have booster bags. They have shopping bags, and they're lined with aluminum foil, 2 or 3 layers of it. So when you put something in it and you go through the store, the readers in the store by the doors won't read that because it won't penetrate the aluminum. So it does work. So if you want to do that, that's fine in regard to that. Don't carry your checkbook in public. If you're going to go pay by check, put 1 or 2 checks, whatever you're going to spend, put it in your wallet or your purse. Don't take the entire checkbook in case you're right and you look around, someone steals it, whatever the situation is. Don't want that information in regard to that, okay? Copy the contents of your wallet, your driver's license, credit card numbers, the 800 number to call the credit card in case something's stolen in regard to that. All the things that have value usually have phone numbers attached to them or numbers that you can call and find out. Some of these cards that I passed out have the phone numbers on them. You can call and find out. But if your ID is stolen, your wallet's stolen, your purse is stolen, all that stuff, you can stop all your credit cards. You can get it, tell your driver's license. You can tell all these people stuff. But it takes a long time for you to get that stuff back and repair your credit. If somebody got your ID, they're going to have it for years and years and years and years. Okay? So you have to be careful about that. Make sure that that information isn't out there. When I go to the doctor says, what's your name, your address, your date of birth, and your ailment, and what's your social security number? And I said, what do you want my social security number? I said, it hurts here. I had a kidney stone. It hurts here. He goes, no. I need it because if you don't pay, I'll be able to find you. He's a friend of mine, so he told me the truth. The reality of it is that's probably why a lot of people take it. It's an identification number. We're slowly but surely changing it. There's been a law passed about 2 years ago in the federal government that says Social Security is not going to be identifiers for other things. For example, Beth and I work for the sheriff's office. We have a hospitalization card. It used to be our Social Security number. Now it's a completely different number. Okay. I tried to get insurance for my car. I called my insurance agent and said, hey, I got a 2004 Ford. I need insurance. He says, what's your Social Security number? I go, I got a 2004 Ford. It doesn't have a Social Security number. What's yours? For the same reason. He's giving me a policy. I'm going to pay him quarterly, but that policy is good for all years. So he's actually loaning me money. Consequently, they want to know what my Social Security is. If I don't pay, then they can fine me. So that's things you got to think about giving your Social Security number out. You don't have to give it out to anybody that asks for. However, people can say, if you don't want to participate and give me a Social Security number, I don't have to give you service or product. You can go to another company if you wish. But that's what you have to look at and see in regard to that. Okay? Remove everything from your pocket and change your Social Security number. How many besides me have a Social Security number in their card in their wallet or purse? Don't be owned by heart. I didn't mean to pick on you, usually more people raise their hand. We know them by heart, okay? My grandson is 8 years old, but at 6 months old, he got a Social Security card, okay? His Social Security card, if someone got that number for years, because he would never check any of it, file a tax return, never do anything with it, for years people would use it. I went on Ancestry.com just to see if any of my relatives were in jail. And I got my dad passed away, my mom passed away, he put the date of birth, date of death in their name, the city they were born, the city they passed away in, and I got their Social Security numbers. Okay? Because that's on death certificates. It's on death certificates. So consequently, now, when they file these death certificates, because here in Florida, it's public record, they eradicate those numbers. But on the original ones, your Social Security numbers, because they have to send one. The funeral director has to send one to Social Security. And then you have to call up and follow up on it. So be careful about stuff like this. This stuff is just unbelievable. When you walk into a doctor's office, I see all these books in the bookcase. I walk into the doctor's office and there's files and files and they have little tags on them. You ever see that? Okay. Every one of us has a file in our doctor's office someplace. And in that, every time we go in, we fill out, think, that's a Social Security number. It might be a credit card number that we paid for, whatever. It's all there. Now, 99 and 9/10% of all the doctors and the nurses and the office staff are fine. But is anything else? There'll be a small percentage that does not think that it's okay, not okay to steal that, or they make a mistake. When the girl taking my file and she picks it up, and it's a big file because I've been on the same doctor for 20 years, and something falls out. Somebody picks it up, and they got it. And they might have all my information in regard to that. So you have to be real careful with regard to that. Okay. Check your credit reports. You can go to the 3 credit report companies once a year and get a free credit report from them with regard. So that means you can go every 4 months and get a credit report. They're a little bit different in format, but they tell you the same information. And you can see, hey, it's someone, go to San Callaway Ford and buy, do I have a $20,000 loan to Ford Motor Company? Because someone bought a car in my name, you'll see that. Okay. Credit cards. Going on vacation. Okay. There's a number on the back of your credit card. It's an 800 number. It's free. And you call them. They don't call you. Say, hey, listen, I'm going on vacation. I recently went to Canada. And I said, listen, I'm going up to Canada. I'm going to Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. So if you see a charge on my credit card, that's where I am. And I'm going to Vancouver, British Columbia, to Winnipeg, et cetera, et cetera. And she said, okay, fine, when are you coming back? I said, I'm coming back in June 18th. She said, I'll give you 2 extra days in case, there's a travel problem or something like that. So when they get those, because the credit card companies know what you do. When you go to the gas station down in the corner here, and you put your credit card in there, that's recorded, so they know that. When you go to Publix, and you pay with a credit card, you go to Walmart, or you go to any place and you play a credit card. Here, in this Fort Myers, Lee County area, is where you live, where you work, where you shop, and where you go to restaurants and entertainment. So you're using your credit card. And so that's an automatic, we know what you're doing. At 4 o'clock in the morning, if somebody called me up and said, hey, are you at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, and are you buying a $10,000 Rolex watch? I'm going to go, no. Because if someone's got my number, someone's got my credit card, they can certainly take that and use it. Okay? And it's easy to get these numbers. Beth has some. We're going to pass it around. You have that stuff on the skimmers. There are skimmers for credit cards, and you guys can take a look. This is the only copy we have, but you guys can take a look at it. Just briefly take a look. There's skimmers on gas pumps. There's skimmers in restaurants. There's skimmers that people have in convenience stores. Everywhere you go, you put your card through it. It's a skimmer. It's a card reader. Okay. What people can do today is, if you have a smartphone, now we have dumb phones, but if you have a smartphone, you can get an application and an appliance. You get on the internet, you just plug it in your smartphone. It's probably no bigger than a dime. And you can take your credit card and swipe it through here. So you know why that is? Because when my wife is shopping, she can do it on her iPhone, on her smartphone. She can go to Home Shopping Network, she can go any of these places, or she sees something else online, she can buy that immediately and put her credit card through there and buy it and put her name on it. It's great. It's convenient. It's a great tool, but But the reality of it is, I can take your credit card if I'm going to a restaurant. Now, Gary's gonna take me out for my birthday, he's gonna take us all out, and go to Ruth Chris. Okay? We're all gonna have $50 steaks, no wine, no booze. So, but anyway, at the end, he gives him the credit card, and he's got a $10,000 gold card, or platinum card. And he gives it to the waiter or the waitress, and they take that and they go, thank you very much, I'll be right back. And they walk. And behind that wall, or over here. And in the meantime, we'll talk to him, say, thank you, Gary, that was really great, blah, 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 saying happy birthday to me, whatever. Now she gets $10,000 credit card going, one for me, one for him, one for me, one for him, one for me, one for him. Okay, and she scans it. Now, he comes back with the bill, sees the bill, blah, 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 gets a bill in 30 days, you go, my God, I spent $10,000 at Ruth Chris for Kevin's birthday, and those people must have ate and drank a lot. In reality, it's only a couple $100, but what happened is, they scam that credit card, and they put that in a computer program, boom, can do it. We saw credit cards, we have a high interdiction team, and people clone credit cards. They get your information right in, they clone credit cards. They put their picture on it. You can buy these credit cards, you can buy the blanks. If you're in business, you can buy these blanks. And you put all the information on it and boss it with a fake number or your number, whatever I scan out of it. Plus it tells me your credit, everything. So now I've got that. In a matter, what do you say, $50 for a scan. So I get 10 of these at a restaurant. I just made $500. I can sell them on the street or on the internet, okay? I was given the same discussion to a group of insurance agents, and one of the ladies said, well, that happened to my husband. We were at a restaurant, and we had lunch, and he paid for it with his credit card, and 2 hours later, the bank called him up and said, hey, listen, are you in Beijing, China, because someone trying to buy railroad tickets with your credit card? Well, we laughed, but you know, trains are the only way in China, in some of those areas, that you can, other than Oxcart, that you can transfer between cities to cities and areas. So, train is the major form of travel in China, especially in the inner parts of it. So those train tickets were as good as gold. I could sell them anywhere. You could buy those, they give it to them, and then you could sell them to the people. It happens. You can push a button on your computer, and 2 doors away, your neighbor can get that information, or 2,000 miles away, or half a world away, in 30 seconds or less, it's going to be like that on the internet. I get that information, put it in the computer, I get on, there's, in Facebook and a couple of these other social networks, there's backdoors and secret little programs that people in the know can get into, and they actually deal with criminal activity, credit card numbers, and some other things back there. They actually have a code that they use. In Craigslist, hey, you know, I've got this, I've got that, and they use different phraseology, but if I'm a bad guy, I know what that means. I go, yeah, I'll pay you $250 for those, you know, 5 new gold pens that you have, or whatever the phraseology is. Consequently, you sold 5 credit cards and the guy paid. So it can happen just like that. So be careful about your credit card numbers and where they are. If you go shopping, don't take them all, okay? What I did is I got 2 credit cards. I had one for myself, and I got one for my wife. And on my wife's, I put a $500 limit. I'm safe, okay, $500. And the banks eat the profit. The banks eat the loss. You don't, as long as you know it's coming. The banks eat the loss. There's literally billions with a big B, more than Congress and the president can spend. They're being stolen almost on a daily basis from credit cards, from people like you and me to go home. And so you have to be a little bit careful about what you do in regards to that. Okay? So do check your credit report. You can do that very simply. Keep your financial and tax records. Keep them in a safe place. And the reason for that is simply because people are going to be able to steal that. You get something from 7 years ago, the IRS says you can keep it for 7 years, I think. So after 7 years, I'm going to throw them away. Make sure they're shredded. Make sure that information it can't be reassembled and stuff. Put it in 2 or 3 different bags and garbage. So it makes it hard for people. You got any questions?
What is the website for the free credit report? Because sometimes there's some that pay you got to pay $55.
Credit reporting agencies. It says annualcreditreport.com. It's on the back page. Plus, you have Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. You can get one of those a year from every one of those people for free. Okay. Obviously, don't give anybody your social security number, credit card, or bank account numbers over the phone or email. Gary and I were talking earlier on the internet. We get things from the banks, says, oh, and it's perfect. It's a Bank of America symbol, it's Wells Fargo symbol, it's whatever bank you're dealing with. But you may not deal with it. But there's only about 5 or 6 major banks. So if I send out the same thing to all you people, at least a third of you are probably going to have something to do with that bank, whether it's Bank of America, whether it's Wells Fargo, whether it's Chase, any one of the 6 or 8 big banks. That's what's left anymore. Some small private community banks. But other than that, that's it. So it looks like Bank of America. Wow, it's got the little flag, and it's got the perfect color, and it's got, it's got the address and the telephone number. Well, they've just taken something, scanned in the computer, and I'm reading it, and it says, hey, we found a problem with the credit cards, and we want to let you know that we're checking everybody that has an account. Please give us your name, your address, your birthday, your account number, and we'll make sure that's not stolen, or whatever the phrase, whatever words they're going to use. And some people go, oh, yeah, well, that's great, the bank's checking it. Well, they're not going to do that on the internet. They don't do that. Okay? They'll contact you in person. That's like someone said on the IRS, coming up with IRS scams are going to start happening the first of the year with income taxes. Every year we get nailed with them really bad. When you're going to see the IRS forms, the IRS, U.S. government, official, and they want to know all this information. I tell people, look, the IRS knows where you're at. If you owe them money or you're having a problem, they're not going to go on the internet. How they get your email anyway? They're not going to go on the internet. They're going to come to your house and knock on your door and say, you owe us some money. Okay, they know where we live. They know our phone numbers and addresses. They're not going to go on the internet. Remember, if you get something on the internet, you got to find out who sent this to me and how did they get my information? How did they get my address? So you got to be careful about that. Sometimes it's better to delete and have a friend call you up and say, hey, you deleted my email. Well, I didn't recognize your address. And I don't want to look up anything that's going to bring my computer cause me problems with regards to that. Some of that stuff is malware. And not only are they looking to get your information, they're looking to screw up your computer too, in regard to that. Okay. Don't respond to emails asking to submit personal data. Never. If you make the connection, if you get on and say, I want to go to bankofamerica.com or whatever it is on the back of your card, you want to do something. I was looking up mortgage rates the other day, and I went to Wells Fargo. Mortgage, and it came up with pages and everything. I get the information, and the way you can tell if it's a secure website is up on the top where it says www//http. It'll have S after it, which stands for secure, or usually on the bottom right-hand corner of the page, there'll be a padlock. It's like a gold-covered padlock. That means that's locked. That's a secure site. So you have much more confidence in that than you would on some other site in regard to that. Okay.
This is the same thing the customer.
Yeah.
I just put all the information that was Netflix.
This is Netflix, which, and they've been in the paper and stuff like that, and they raised the rates a couple bucks. So now they're saying your account's been suspended. We need the information.
But it looks legitimate. And actually, I've had a man, the reason why I have that is because the man put in mother's maiden name. He had an account in Netflix. He got that email. It looked very, very real. Put in all this information. So
Now, if your identity is stolen, the first thing you do is file a report to your local law enforcement agency, police department, sheriff's office, whatever, in regard to that. Okay? And get a copy of that report, because as you go through trying to repair your credit and going through all these different Social Security, credit cards, the banks, whatever you have, you're going to have to use that as the common denominator so they can check and see that you can file something in regard to that. Request to complete an ID theft affidavit from the Federal Trade Commission. Go to the Federal Trade Commission and get an affidavit to fill that out and stuff. You're in the process of doing it. Okay. Cancel each credit card individually. Tell them, hey, my credit card's been stolen. Someone's stealing my ID. I want to cancel these. They'll cancel and issue a new account based on what you already are there. If you report to us before the card you use, you're not responsible. Now with debit cards, you're not responsible, but a debit card is far better than a credit card. You clean it out right away. That's your cash right there. That's gone. Book, gone. In a way, I don't care if they steal the bank's money, but when they steal my money, I'm a little upset about that. So we were talking this morning, and we found out that you go to an ATM, you put your ATM card in the bank, it's a bank, and I'm going to get up $200. And it says what's your name, your ID, and your PIN number, et cetera, like that. Put your card in, say, what do you want to do? I want to take out a cash transaction, $200, push the little screen. And then it's done, and then your receipt comes out, and then your card comes out, then your money comes out. Usually there's 3 different containers for all these things, and they're not really close together, 1, 2, and 3. One's on one side, one's on the bottom, one's on the top, whatever. If you're not careful, with that screen, when you pull that card out, it says, do you want to continue any other transactions? Yes or no. What people are, they get the receipt, they get the card, they get the money, and they're walking away back to the car. I'm standing there, like a nice guy going there. I walk in, and just push like, yes, transaction. All the information's in it. I say, give me $500. Well, it's gone. I didn't realize that happened. And so someone telling me, this is what happens on the screen. I, just walked away. I'm done, finished, let the next guy behind me get in here. So you gotta wait till that screen's off before you know. It takes anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds on most ATMs. 30 seconds is the long in your life, that's a maximum time period. Contact your financial institution. Cancel all your PIN numbers. Cancel all your PIN numbers. And those are, they'll give you new ones, okay? They give you new cards and new PIN numbers. Cancel the existing ones so somebody can't use them. Okay. Report the theft of one of the fraud units to the credit card reporting agencies. That agency will notify the other 2. So you're going to have Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion report to one. The others will report to the other 2 in regard to that. There's credit monitoring services. We have one that's guy walks around and he has a social security number on the side of his truck. And for $10.95 a month, you can sign up, and they'll make sure that if your ID is stolen, et cetera, they'll work hard to get it done. And it's supposed to be $1 million guarantee, and it is. It's $1 million to him to fix the flaw in his computer program that allowed the guy to get in and hack it. It doesn't go to you, or any part of it. You can buy insurance for ID theft. Some insurance companies actually offer it. So you can do these things yourself. It takes time. You can go to these credit report companies. You can check that every month when your credit card statement comes in. You check that religiously. Make sure that it's not a $10 fee that you don't remember. $10, nothing. You know what guys do when they steal a credit card or they scan your information? The first thing they buy, a pizza. Less than $15, and if they accept the credit card, they know it's good. Plus to get free pizza. Then you can go out and go to big screen TV at Best Buy before the pizza gets cold, or eat it on the night. So you have to be careful about that in regard to that, okay? And all utility companies, especially cell services, tell them to watch for anyone ordering services in your name. In Lehigh Acres, you might have read in the paper, sheriff's office in the past 2 or 3 years got well over 150 grow houses. And what's happening is they're taking these vacant homes and they're using grow houses to bring in marijuana plants, put in the garage, put a bunch of lights up there and some hydroponics and grow marijuana. But they need electricity to do that. So how do they do that? It's simple. They go to somebody's mailbox. It happened to me. They got my bill out of my mailbox before I received it after the mailman put it in. Got my electric bill, had the account. It says, I'm Kevin Farrell. I want to open up an account at 1234 Southeast 17th Street in Lehigh Acres, Florida. And I already have an account here at such an address in Cape Coral. They sell insurance, they're all no problem, blah, 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 blah. Then they hook up the electricity. They're out there and they're using 1,000 kilowatts a day to grow their marijuana, and I'm getting a bill going, hey, what is this? You know, and I went there, and so we found out what the situation was. But you have to be careful. Same with utilities, same with water. Especially in today's world, the economy really is bad. And for some people, it's terrible. But they still have to have things like electricity and utilities and water. So sometimes they'll steal one from their neighbors that might be gone for the summer by either putting a hose on to their hose bill outside of their house and hook it up to their house inside. Or they'll try and steal the utilities by doing that, taking the utility bill and saying, I want to transfer it to this house, whatever it might be. You have to be careful. You have to watch it. I don't want to scare you, but I'm telling you all the possible things that can happen. Not a whole bunch happen. We will find more and more scams and more frauds. And I brought a specialist with me this evening that she scares me when she talks about this stuff. You'd be surprised how many people legitimately think they win lotteries. Okay? And let me tell you, I'm buying a ticket tomorrow. And if I win, don't look for me Thursday morning. Okay? Because I'm taking my money and I'm going to town with my wife and kid. But the reality is, we all want to win that. We're finding that senior citizens, people with hair like color, and I just died mine for the senior discount. But reality-wise, senior citizens seem to be a bigger target. And the reason is, number one, they have things. Okay? My daughter is 30 years old. She wants someone to steal her ID. She's got a college payment. She's got an 8-year-old. She's got a car payment. Please steal my ID and my credit. Please. I want to start over fresh. She has nothing for anybody to steal. Okay? Yet, as you get older, you compile things. You might get your house paid off. You might have a pension. You might have Social Security. You may have some investments other than the U.S. stock market that would pay something. And so you have things. You have stuff. People want your stuff. Okay? So they're going to try and get that stuff from you with regard to it. They have to be very careful about who you give this information out to with regard to it. Okay? Because people will take advantage of you. They will get that and they'll take advantage of it. It's so easy to do in comparison to being a full-time criminal. We're finding people that are getting clone credit cards instead of selling narcotics, heroin, cocaine, marijuana even, which is big bucks, and they get a couple $100,000 or $50,000, $60,000. They stick it in the spare tire of their car and they drive down 75 and they get stopped. And the dog gets alerted because we have dogs that are drug dogs that just sniff out cars. And the dog's alerted, you get to search that car. It's called probable cause, and they find that money. That money has the cocaine and heroin on it. Whose money is it? Oh, I don't know. So we try and take that. They rent cars, so we can't repossess their car. We can't confiscate their car because they rented it from Mavis when they transport their drugs. And their money, now what they're doing is they're taking it and putting it on these credit cards, these debit cards. They're loading them up. So the guy gets money over Miami. He gets $100,000, get 10 credit cards, put 10 on each one, preloading them, debit cards. Drives up to Tampa to pay his boss. Give you $100,000. There's no money in it. They're not traveling money, they're not doing the gold. Okay? They're just taking this money and putting it on credit cards. They're doing the same thing by stealing your ID. It's very difficult to catch somebody in Canada who is sending you information about winning the lottery. You give me all your information, and you'll win $8 million US. It's always US dollars. You ever get those letters? They say you've won US $100 million, $50 million. What are they going to pay me anyway? I don't understand why they always have to say US dollars. That's the first key. Plus, their spelling is terrible, and the punctuation is horrendous. So that's the first key. But you know why seniors, and I get off that, you know why seniors will be responsible to take that stuff? It's not because they're greedy. It's because they want to leave a legacy. I talked to a lot of banks and a lot of folks in economic crime, and most of the people that they do and take these cases from are mature citizens from 50 on up. And they say because they want to leave a legacy. We want to leave something for the kids. We wanted a trust fund for the grandchildren to go to college. We wanted this, we wanted that. They didn't want to take $8 million and go to Vegas. They just wanted something for their families, to leave them something. And so it wasn't greed that did it. That is a percentage that is greed. Oh, I win that money, take off. You cannot win the lottery anywhere in the United States unless you have a ticket, unless you bought a ticket. Okay? And you can't win the Georgia lottery in Florida unless you went to Georgia and bought a ticket. You can't win the Florida lottery in Georgia unless you came to Florida to buy a ticket. You have to buy that ticket where it's sold. Now, it doesn't mean that My brother-in-law, who lives in Ohio, is gonna say, hey, we got $100 million, you want a piece of the action? If we win, I go, sure, I send him up $5, he buys 5 tickets and sends me a copy of it, and sends me 1 ticket, whatever it might be. If I win, I gotta go collect that anyway. So no one's going to win, and no one takes out taxes or fees from any winnings you have. Most of the people, as you're gonna hear from Beth, are people that say, oh, well, we got your money, but it's $2,400 for the lawyer's fees, and you need another $3,000 for the taxes. There's no taxes on your money. The government takes it right off the bat. And in many countries, if you win the Canadian lottery, there is no income tax on lottery winnings. You don't have to pay a penny. If you win $3 million, you get $3 million. However, the next year, if you made any interest on that, then you have to pay tax on that interest on those gains. But on the base amount, you get the full amount. Unlike Florida, they give you half if you want to take it all. And then you have to pay tax on that. So I never buy tickets unless it's at least $10 million. Okay. We covered a lot of information. Any questions with regard to ID theft? Yes, sir.
About people disposing like personal documentation in the garbage, because I try to share everything like bills and
Right.
information, credit cards, data. That is a good idea.
Absolutely. Shredding it is fantastic, as we spoke about. It's a very difficult thing, especially the new shredders. They come down and they cross-shred as well. It's very difficult to do that, and you just pick it up and put it in 2 different waste baskets or things of that nature in regard to that. I did pass out some cards earlier. These are phone cards, and we get these printed up once a year. So these are numbers that are really easy to call. I found a new phone book. Anybody here work for a phone company? Because I think I need phone books. Not only do I need the glasses to see the numbers, but they don't have easy access to find emergency numbers or numbers. So it not only does it have all the law enforcement agencies in the county, in the sheriff's office, it's got everything from consumer fraud, county commission, motor vehicles, the Red Cross, the school board, school transportation, bus barn, any numbers that you probably might want to look up, right? Make it convenient. So if you don't have one, take one or take some more for your neighbors, put them next to your phone. They're pretty good. But identity theft is a growing crime. Very difficult to prove, very difficult to catch somebody because a lot of times in a different country. And people, as Beth is going to tell you, people in other countries can care less. They have other problems. So it's very difficult to catch these people. They don't do any time, and they get the money. And it's your money and our money, bank's money, and they're just absconding with it, basically. So it's an ongoing thing. Lock the things up that make you who you are. Lock those up as well as the valuable things in your life that you can. Just like locking your car. We're going to talk about personal safety after see some of the examples that we had in regard to lock the things up. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. We may not like it. It may not be how we grew up, but nonetheless, that's what it is. Understand that. Take some responsibility. Lock your stuff up. Don't be giving it out willy-nilly. If people will ask you stuff, just say, well, go to the doctor's office. I've been to this doctor 3 times. Why do I have to give my social security number again? And they look at you. Well, because I have to, because that's, you're not getting it. So let's put the kiddies to my social security. Beth, Cheryl, yes, ma'am.
I was just wondering, can I ask you a non-fraud question about just a safety question?
Well, yeah, if I can answer.
Only because I have to go pick up my daughter, and I think maybe some people are here for the same reason. I live in Gateway, and we have a sexual offender who just moved into our neighborhood. And I was hoping tonight to get some advice about how to protect our children and in our neighborhood from that situation.
Well, first of all, you can find sexual offenders in all your neighborhoods. You can go to our website or you can go to the FDLE website, and they'll tell you can get by 1 mile, 2 miles, 5 miles. You can get anywhere. You need to put an address in, and it'll tell you the sexual offender and the type. Now, there's sexual offenders and sexual predators, and there's 2 different types. Okay, but if you have any in your neighborhood and you have children, what you want to be able to do is, 1, pay more attention to those children. Make sure what they're doing when they're playing outside and stuff, that especially smaller ones, they're being observed, they're being watched and stuff like that. Let your kids know that don't go by that house. When I was a kid, we grew up in an area and some of the houses were scary to just walk by, so And just be careful what you do in regard to that. We have a sexual crimes unit, and what they do is not only do they check all these people on a constant basis, but things like Halloween. They're not allowed to give kids, they're not allowed to have the porch light on, or give treats and stuff like that. And we have deputies go to every one of their houses and check on them, every Halloween, for example. And other types of situations where we're constantly checking on them at other times, plus the state parole and or probation checking. When you're a sexual predator, you're there for life. You're on that list for life. So no matter where you go, we get noticed every time somebody moves. If they move into the state, in Lee County, from whatever address, we get notified. If they move out, they have to notify in all 50 states that they're moving in here. So be aware of it. Look at that on your website. In fact, I brought some information. Our website's pretty easy to get to. It doesn't have, right now we're changing it. Hopefully all this information will be available on easy to read maps. But right now you can get in there and get to a link to our website with sexual predators and sexual offenders in regard to that. Go to FDLE and look at that too. But child safety is definitely something that you want to be aware of. Those people, if they're out and they're out of jail, they've done their time, they might be on parole. But the reality is you can't stand in front of their house and go, hey, throw rocks at them like the Frankenstein monster. You just have to understand that they're there, and if there's a situation, please call. Don't be afraid to call 911. We get a lot of those calls because people are a little worried. And sometimes, I don't know, maybe about half the time, these people that are sexual offenders and sexual predators, they're a little weird. Okay? Not just weird in that, but weird normally. And sometimes you see them or they'll commit acts. And sometimes won't have any curtains under them. They'll walk naked in front of it or something if the kids are walking down to the school bus. So if you see that, you call. Some people just ignore and say, oh, don't go to their house, Johnny. Call us, because that's a violation. And that's what you have to understand. They have to be very, very careful about what they do on children in these places. We do have a county ordinance, and it's a state law too. In certain areas, they can't be where children are now. If they have kids of their own, they can't certainly be in those areas. But, people move who they are. And you should always
Is there a law that they can't live within so many feet of a school?
Well, yes and no. There is and there isn't. The reason being is that if I get out with mom and dad and live there and I grew up there, you can't deny me housing. You can't deny me a place to live. If I had no place to live, I just got out of jail after doing 5 years or 10 years or whatever, being a sexual offender. The reality is, for them to go in and live in there, it's kind of like a bar by a church. If the bar was there before the church was there, the bar can still be there. It's kind of the way, rule of thumb that you want to use in regard to that. But yeah, they have the distance between schools, they can't hang out around schools. We have school resource officers, and the school also has security people that go around the ground outside the fence to see if anyone's hanging around, and they check them out and they run. Sometimes we find them out there, because of the fence.
This particular individual lives in Bristol Parkway, and she lives in Bristol Park, and I live in Cypress Bay. Oh, great,
Yes, you
there
brought
he
the
is.
information. You guy's name is Disney. I didn't know he was from
Yeah,
Disney.
so it's Disney. And I actually called his probation officer this morning because I found out that that's my right to do that.
Absolutely.
And he did go to jail for luring a young girl who crossed his yard to get to school. And that's now our new neighbor.
But, on the other hand too, if you saw how many people are being released from prisons for all crimes, there's other people that might be your neighbors that aren't sexual offenders, but might be criminals. So, well, our daily jail population is 2,217 last week. That's our average daily population in our jail. And they get out of jail. Okay? And they get bonded out until their trial, and it might be 2 years before they have trial. And they're convicted or found innocent, whatever. But they're out there. Guy yesterday in Fort Myers got out of jail. Okay? Released on bond, got out of jail, broke into a house, stole a gun and a shotgun, burglarized the house, running down the streets on the saw, police, or Myers Police, the sheriff were there with the helicopters up, found a guy hiding in the closet. He dumped the guns and broke into another house. He just out of jail for 4 hours. We caught him again. Okay, so these people, like I said, they're kind of weird. They do different things. It's kind of, they're not rocket scientists, fortunately. But yeah, you can always call the probation officer. You can always call us if you see something happening with anybody who might be a sexual offender, or even someone who is not, but is acting in that manner. As it could be sometime in the future. Did we have a second? Yes, sir.
You touched on the dangers of your social security number, especially in medical facilities. Well, guess what? Your Medicare, this pertains mostly to seniors. Your Medicare card number is your social security number, and it equally needs to be protected.
Yeah. As I said, there's a federal law about 2 years ago passed that companies and businesses can't use social security numbers, and slowly they're changing those numbers. However, Medicare and Medicaid are part of Social Security Administration. So I don't think the law applies to them.
Try to get treatment without showing.
Oh, I know. I'd like to introduce Beth Shell. Beth is one of our deputies. She was a road deputy for 10 years. Worked everything from vice narcotics to school resource office. And she's one of our top fraud investigators. The stuff she's going to show you, the stuff she shows us, just scares me to death. I want to be with Osama bin Laden and hide in a cave. Okay, I don't want anybody to come near me. I don't want to give my social security number. I'm going to burn all my credit cards, nothing. Because some of this stuff is so easy to get hold of, and the information, I would tell you a little bit, and the things that they do with it is just unbelievable. Beth?
How long do I have?
Oh.
No, I think educating your neighbors, when your children's friends come over, educating them, because I have a 12-year-old daughter and a 15-year-old son, and I haven't looked. I have to confess that I have not looked, and I should. My daughter doesn't roam too much, but you don't have to be a little girl to be the victim of a sexual predator or sexual offender. So I think education, educating our children about where to go, where not to go, that kind of thing, and their friends, or move, which I would consider. But I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's just, it's reality. And like Kevin said, we don't know who is living next to us. So I'm going to talk real quickly because Kevin did touch a lot. Can everybody hear me? I have a really big mouth. Okay, I'll stay right up here. What I am going to talk about, I'm going to just show some samples and things like that, and talk about the frauds and scams that I come in contact with victims of every day. Like Kevin said, I worked the road. I was in law enforcement for 10 years. I'm a native here. I was born in Lee Memorial Hospital. I have family here. After I left the sheriff's office in 2001, I was a stay-at-home mom for 8 years, and when I came back to the sheriff's office 2 years ago, this is the job that I was fortunate enough to get. I had absolutely no idea, none whatsoever, of what is taking place not only in our county but across the country. It was a shock to me, and I really don't think that you guys realize it as well, which is one of the reasons why we're here, is to educate you. A couple of questions, true or false? A caller says you won a big lottery prize, but you must send money to cover taxes and handling before you can collect. True or false? False. True or false? A call, a letter, or an email from a highly placed official of a foreign government requests your assistance to transfer a large amount of money. If you can help, you'll earn a huge fee. True or false? You guys laugh. True or false? A caller offers you a low interest rate credit card. They ask for your social security number, driver's license, and bank account information so they can activate your card. True or false? You get it? There are dozens and dozens of frauds and scams, so many that every time we conquer one, there's 20 more behind it. What used to be the popular way of perpetrating scams was through the fax machine. I actually did have a call come in where someone was faxed a letter, what we call the 419 Nigerian scam. So that was the first time I've heard of a fax being used. They don't use that so much anymore. Telephone, internet, door to door, those are the 3 ways that we see the most of scams happening. I don't know how many of you are familiar with or have heard of IC3.gov. It's an agency that consists of the FBI and the National White Collar Crime Center. And they are a base or a hub for people within the United States to file complaints about frauds and scams. They keep track of everything. Their 2010 statistics, so this is a little while ago already, we're in September. Florida ranks number 2 for internet fraud, right after California. So we're number 2. They received 304,000 complaints, 25,000 complaints a month for internet fraud alone, complaints from people. Most loss is the age group 60 and older. Monetary loss for the state of Florida exceeded $37 million. That's just internet. And you're going to find out that this is a very, very low number because a lot of people don't report it. And not only do we have millions of dollars through the internet fraud, but telephone and the U.S. mail, which I did forget to say that that's another way of fraud defrauding. I'm going to touch on a couple of ones. I'm very passionate about this. I could talk about it literally all night. And so once I get started, it's hard for me to stop. But I'm gonna just touch on some ones that I think that you guys might be either have been victimized and don't want to say, or have had phone calls or things. One of the big ones, like Kevin talked about, is our sweepstakes and our lottery scams. We laugh about that, but it's a really sad situation. Just 2 weeks ago, I had a lady in Fort Myers Beach, $100,000 to Jamaica. So what happens is you get a phone call. You won sweepstakes and a new Mercedes-Benz. Has anybody gotten that call at all? No. So all you have to do is send $250 to pay for taxes. We're going to be over there at 1 o'clock today, and we're going to bring you your check. The only legitimate sweepstakes that I know is Publishers Clearinghouse. Publishers Clearinghouse will never, ever call you and tell you that you won. It's just like you see on TV. They're going to knock on your door. They're going to have balloons and a camera. They're not going to tell you they're coming. They're not going to ask for any money up front. So the phone is one way that folks are being, swindled into believing they won a sweepstakes. The other way, and I'm going to pass this around, is through the mail. So these checks come through the mail. We are pleased to inform you that you're one of the lucky winners in the second category, the Publishers Clearinghouse. So they send you a check. And if you notice, the check is Morgan & Stanley, New York, Massachusetts. There's always 3 or 4 different addresses, 3 or 4 different contact names, information that doesn't make sense or that's poorly written. A lot of times the letter will be postmarked from Canada, United Kingdom. A lot of the phone calls, I don't see a lot of postage coming in from Jamaica, but a ton of phone calls. If you ever see the 876 exchange come through your caller ID, you're not answering. That's a Jamaican exchange. So I'll pass these around. These are checks. Okay, so let's say that you get this in the mail and you go, well, I'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, these are things that look very, very real. These are the letters that you might see come in your mailbox. If you have senior parents who are showing, even if they don't show signs of memory impairment, if you have senior loved ones, please, please, please tell them about these scams. What we are finding with these sweepstakes and lottery scams with seniors, typically 65 and over, they're either widows or widowers. Their spouse has been dead for maybe a month or 2. And what happens, and particularly with the suspects from Jamaica, they may not necessarily even call and ask for money right away. They kind of form a relationship. So they may say that you've won, but they might not necessarily say you need to go to Western Union and send money. They may say, how's your health? How are you doing? They kind of reel these folks in, and then our people who are lonely, they may not have any family, They might not have, even if they have family, they may have children that live in other states. Their memory isn't quite what it used to be, so their thinking isn't quite what it used to be. Maybe they're victims of a stroke, so their memory is a little bit impaired. So the next thing you know, they slowly start giving money and more money and more money. And there's a lady in Lehigh that I went to visit. Her husband died in October. They started calling her in November. She wasn't from this country. Basically, her husband did everything for her. She almost didn't even know how to use the remote at home. She got a phone call from this man in Jamaica. When I went, and I actually found out about it because the CPA called me and said, I'm finding this money is disappearing. You know, I don't know what's going on. She had no family, no children, nothing. But she had a nice bank account. So when I went out there, she first of all was very angry that we were there. She didn't want any part of the sheriff's office. And then what I discovered, and I came around and asked her, was that she had developed feelings for this person via the phone line. So we see that happens. They fall in love over the phone. Somebody's listening to them about their needs, their ailments. Maybe they had a spouse who never really listened to what they have to say, and now all of a sudden they have somebody listening to what they have to say. So they fall in love, they develop a relationship. And the CPA that she'd known for years, she cut her out of her life. She told us basically to get out, and she believed this man who she'd only been talking with over the phone. And finally, the CPA was able to convince her, and what happens typically is what we try to hope for is that a family member or someone will step in and take over and become a guardian and help these folks out. But a lot of times, our seniors won't report it. They're embarrassed, they're afraid. These people become very belligerent, very threatening, and so they don't say anything about it. So that's something that's huge in this area. So keep your eyes out and your ears out for that. And if you suspect that there is a senior that's being exploited through the sweepstakes, don't hesitate to call Fraud Line or to call Adult Protective Services, although they really won't do it. So call Fraud Line, and we can at least go out and talk to them and try to help them see that this is going on, that they're losing their money. Sometimes we can help, and sometimes we can't. And unfortunately, in America, I can't tell you how to spend your money or who to give it to. So if you have not been deemed memory impaired, you have not been labeled as Alzheimer's or dementia by a physician or court, you can send your money to whoever you want. So I can't tell you what to do with it. I can give you a suggestion. Yeah, I'll give you my bank account number, and we can help me send my kids to college. So that's a really, really big one that we're seeing. The other one with the economy, the way that it is, oh my goodness, we are seeing so much of this. How many of you guys use Craigslist? eBay, you sell something on Craigslist, you post your resume on Craigslist, that kind of stuff. When you go on Craigslist, you'll see that right on the front page is a notice to beware of Craigslist and people who want to send you more than what you're selling your property for, or you go on there and you post your resume, whether it's on Craigslist, jobs.com, any of that kind of stuff, you post your information. These scammers are going through every single internet site looking for your information. They'll send you an email, for instance. Let's say you're looking for a job, you post your resume. You get an email back. Hi, I saw your resume. I think you'll fit in perfectly with our company. Want to ask you a few questions so that you fill out your name, your address, and all that kind of stuff. Maybe they want you as a personal assistant or a mystery shopper. And that's what I'm going to show you here. So you're all excited, of course, and this is what's happening. And I'm getting calls daily. People are losing thousands of dollars who don't have thousands of dollars to lose because they're desperate to find a job. So you get an email back, and it says, congratulations, we've chosen you to be a mystery shopper. Or congratulations, we've chosen you to be our personal assistant, but we're out of the country. We're out of the country for a family emergency or whatever. But this will be your first assignment. My my next door neighbor lost $4,800, well, actually $9,000 this way. She called me crying, and I'm like, why did, you live right next door to me, you know what I do. She was desperate for a job. So they send back and say, dear Mrs. Whatever, you will be evaluating the Walmart store and a Western Union outlet in your city. The payment sent to you, $1,975, covers all expenditures including evaluation, shopping, transport, and your compensation, which is $200 for this survey. You are to purchase goods of your choice for your own use at the Walmart store, blah, blah, blah. So you see this check for $1,975. It looks very real. You take it to the bank, you deposit it, you withdraw. Let's see, what did they ask her to? I think she got to keep 200. How nice they were. And she deposits this. Okay, you go to your bank. And do we have any banking representatives in here? What I did not know until I started doing this either was that when you go to a teller, and the teller's responsibility is to take your check, make sure you signed it, look at your driver's license, compare everything. That's their responsibility. Their responsibility, I mean, now maybe if it's a bad check, they can tell that it's bad. But it's not their responsibility to decide whether or not this check is fraudulent. So you go to the bank, you deposit it, they may put a hold on it for a couple days. You call your bank up, or you look in your account, oh, my check went through, it's good. And you go take the money out. Well, guess what? Sometimes it can take up to 3 weeks for the bank to be able to determine that this check is fraudulent. In the meantime, you've taken out the $1,775. You've gone down to Western Union, MoneyGram. Those are the big things. So if you hear Western Union, MoneyGram, probably going to be a scam. Not that Western Union and MoneyGram in and of itself is bad, if you know who you're sending it to, a family member, a friend, you know, that you can definitely know you're sending money to. The big thing now is the Green Dot card. What they're asking a lot of people to do is there's a card that you can purchase at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS. It's called a Green Dot card. It's a reloadable card. They'll ask you to go maybe put $500, $700 on the card. So then how do they get the money if you don't send them the card? They're going to call you back and ask you to read the PIN number that's on the back of the card. And that's going to give them access to the money. So you basically, when you deposit this and you send out money via Western Union or MoneyGram, you might as well have just sent $1,200 down the toilet, basically, because you're not going to get it back. It's like sending cash. And the difficult thing for me is when I have, like I had last week, a man on the phone lost his job 3 weeks ago. His wife was on the phone saying he's a good man. He's just trying to support his family. Went on Craigslist, thought he had a job, took the check, deposited it, lost his money. So not only then does the bank come back to you and say, hey, we want $1,700, but you've also lost the $1,700 that you took and you sent out. So it's double. So you've lost a lot of money. So I'll pass this around. I won't belabor that anymore. But please, 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 if you get a phone call, an email, be careful about what you post on the internet. Be careful about a check, receiving a check in the mail. All of a sudden you've got a $2,500 check. You don't know where it came from or why. Think about it. I know we get excited when we see that, but think about why would somebody send that to me. These are some postal money orders that are fake. I have an agent friend for Secret Service who looked at those, and she even had a hard time detecting that those were not real. So take a look at those kind of things. A couple of things I wanted to hit on real quick before I get into the credit card stuff, and I'll do that. Email hijacking. Anybody had their emails hijacked? You have? So that's the thing too, is that people are getting into your, never ever click on a link or open an email from something or someone that you don't know or understand. Because they'll get in there and they'll put a virus in. And so what's happening is let's say I clicked on a link without realizing it, something went into my computer that I didn't realize. The next day I try to get in my email, I can't get in. Somebody's now has access to my email. They in turn send out emails to my email people saying that I'm in London or someplace out of the country. I've been robbed. Can you please send money via Western Union MoneyGram? So just be careful again when you're clicking on things that you don't click on things. a lot of the email things that he talked about with the phishing, Comcast. I actually had my internet cut off a couple weeks ago because my husband's a high school teacher, so he had the summer off. So I never saw the internet bill from Comcast. But we have two accounts. I was paying my phone bill, not realizing that I wasn't paying the internet bill. So one Saturday, all of a sudden, the internet goes out and my kids think it's the end of the world. So I called Comcast. Well, come to find out I hadn't paid the bill, so they cut it off. I had been seeing things that came in that had the Comcast logo in my mail, but I refused to open it because I thought it was a scam. So I just kept clicking, and deleting, thinking I'm not going to open it, and they're sending me stuff saying your internet's going to be turned off if you don't pay your bill. So if you see things like that, and they start asking for personal information, mother's maiden name, and they already know that. These people already have that information from you. Anybody get a phone call on your cell phone or your home phone? Would you like to lower your interest rate on your credit card? If so, or your credit card has been compromised, press 1. If you'd like to reactivate, don't ever do that, because basically what they're doing is asking you to punch in your credit card number so they have it. Hang up and call the bank. Go to your credit card or your bank statement and call that number that's on there. When you're looking for your bank, let's say you bank with Bank of America and you want to get on your bank account, make sure you're on the right website, because there are a lot of fake websites that they're easily designed, that they can design. Grandson, grandma scam, anybody gotten a phone call for that? We have a lot of victims, a lot of seniors for that. I had a call from the Secret Service in Texas, thank you, a couple of months ago. They had a huge case they were working, and through their investigation, they discovered that there was an elderly lady that lived up by Palm Beach Boulevard, had sent $4,000 to Texas, and they wanted us to go by, because every time the Secret Service guy would call her house, she would hang up on him. So he said, can you go by and try to take a report so that we can use this, because we've been able to identify our scammers. So I went to her house, and she's very alert, very smart. And that's the thing. These are educated people that are becoming victims. These aren't people who are uneducated or don't know, things of the world. These are very smart people. She got a call, Grandma, this is your grandson. Well, what happens when we hear that our grandchild or a family member or a loved one is in need? We start thinking about what we can do. And without even realizing, we go, is this Johnny? Yes, it's Johnny. So they told her that he was out of the country, he'd been in Canada, he'd gone to a wedding, he was in a car accident, he was in jail, and the only way he could get out is for her to send $4,000. She went down to the bank, took $4,000 out, wired $4,000 to Texas. Didn't think anything about it. As time goes on, and of course they tell her, don't tell anyone, don't tell my mom, because she'll be really upset at me. So she didn't tell a soul. So when we knocked on her door and told her we knew, she was, I asked her if she would be willing to fill out a report, called the deputy over. She said she would, and then when the deputy got there, she changed her mind. And the reason why she changed her mind is because she was fearful that if she filled this report out, these people were going to come back and get her, which isn't the case. Typically, they're out of the country. These people did actually operate out of Texas. But I say all that to say that the IRS agent told me that this group was scamming people out of $200,000 a week in the grandparent scheme. $200,000 a week. That's how many victims there are. So, again, you get a call saying that grandma, grandpa, been arrested or been in an accident. The best thing to do, just like you see the sheriff in the public service announcements that he does, is just hang up on him. Do not go into any conversation whatsoever with them. Yes?
I have experienced my parents. I'm from Puerto Rico. My parents. I was visiting my parents, and my mom told me this. I was surprised. Like, it happened to my father. He was in the mall, and this lady come to him and I said, "Oh, I'm your neighbor's daughter, Mary." And it's a lot of Marys in Puerto Rico. And my father said, "Mary, oh Mary, the street next to us." Yes, I have a problem. My car broken. I need $25. My father gave her $25. She wasn't Mary. That was the daughter of Mary, my father now.
What happens is that the majority of us have really good caring hearts. And so we assume that everyone else has really good caring hearts. And unfortunately, that's not the case. So that's what happened. He wants to help a friend, a friend of a friend. So some of these things that come, we'll see that they will come, and I forgot to mention that. Very official. These are real FedEx envelopes. The guy from the FedEx truck will knock on your door or ring your bell and tell you that you have a package. People say, how do they get that? How do they send that without being a paper trail? What happens is they steal the FedEx accounts of businesses or personal people, and they'll ship it. So your FedEx or a DHL account could be compromised without you even knowing it, and they're using your information to send this kind of stuff. Phone apps. I want to talk to you about that. One more new scam, and then I'm going to quickly go into this. Just because you see on your caller ID that it may be a local number or it's coming, let's say you pick up the phone and it says it's coming from Las Vegas, Nevada. Hi, this is Winners International Sweepstakes from Las Vegas, Nevada. You just won a sweepstakes, and you look and go, wow, it really is from Las Vegas, Nevada. The way that the internet and the phone system is, and the applications on our smartphones and Skype and everything else is set up. What's that? Smart Jack or Smart Magic Jack. Thank you. If I wanted to call your number, but I wanted to say that I was calling from Lee Memorial Hospital, then I call your number, and then on my phone or through my application, I put in Lee Memorial Hospital's phone number. So when your phone rings, you look on your caller ID, oh, Lee Memorial Hospital's calling me. Hi, Mr. Whatever, you had a bill, an unpaid bill, you need your credit card number, or we're going to turn it. Well, you see that it says Lee Memorial Hospital. So what do? You assume that that's who it is that's calling. So just because you see a number on your caller ID that says it's coming from a place, or maybe they're calling using your neighbor's number. Because they see all these exchanges and everything are similar. So they call using your neighbor's number. So you think that's who's calling you. So there's all kinds of ways that people are scamming through that. One of the new things that we just came out, and I think NBC2 might have done a story on it today, or Week News, I'm not sure. We've been getting a couple of calls, and it's starting to increase. Somebody calls your home and says that they're Microsoft security, Microsoft Windows security, and they've got information that your account has been compromised. So what they tell you to do is what we want you to do is go to the computer while we're on the phone with you, click this. Okay, do you see that? Yes, yes. Okay, click this over here. Do you see that? Oh, yep, yep. Okay, now click on this. Well, while you're clicking and doing all that, they're getting into your computer. So one of the ladies, while she was talking to him on the phone, she's watching her little icon move around, and she's not touching her mouse, her cursor. So while she's talking to him, he has gotten inside of her computer, probably from some faraway country, as he sits in a big boiler room with everybody, 50 other people doing the same thing. So our phone calls are starting to increase. So if someone calls you identifying themselves as being from Microsoft, please don't go get into your computer or do any of that. So that's one of the new scams that's come out that I didn't hear about until the last couple of weeks. Now I just want to touch on what Kevin was saying, and I'll finish up with this. At the Sheriff's Office, we have a highway interdiction team, and what they do is they monitor, obviously 75 is a huge thoroughfare from Miami to Tampa to Jacksonville to Atlanta. It goes that way. So our highway interdiction unit works out there mornings and nights, making traffic stops. And like Kevin said, what they're finding now, instead of narcotics, they're finding credit cards, they're finding driver's licenses and social security numbers. I'm going to pass out some of the things that we have. I print this up for you to see. This is a gift card. You go, okay, what could you do with a gift card? Well, they can take your personal identification and put it on a gift card. And so when they swipe it, it has your credit card information on it. So they go and they steal maybe a couple of these type of things from Walmart where they hang or Publix where they hang. and then they can put your credit card information on that. And now today, with everything that you can go into those lines where you can ring it up yourself and swipe it. Who's gonna know if I'm using something like that? From one traffic stop, this was credit cards that were fraudulent, that had people's names on it, like you and I, that they were taking and they were able to confiscate. And like Kevin said, at $50 a pop, and if you have if someone's able to get like a Black American Express, I think that's $150 they can make. If you have a Black American Express, I'm gonna go after you. Visa cards, fake driver's licenses, they match. And you know what, when you go into a Walmart or a Publix or whatever, and let's say that has your name on it, but it's got my picture, it matches. Nobody knows. The teller doesn't have, a cashier doesn't have time to examine and look and to be able to look at there's 10 people behind you, so it's get us through. More driver's licenses. This was something that was confiscated. This was a zip drive. Is this a zip? Flash drive, yes. Hundreds and hundreds of credit cards. This is what you might see. So for people who aren't experienced that are making traffic stops, well, you're used to, you want to find a bundle of cocaine or a thing of marijuana. We're learning to start to look for notebooks that have names in it, for these type of things, for computers. It's changing. That's what they store all of our credit card information on. So they put it in their pocket, and they turn that over to the bad guy. More credit cards that were taken. Fake checks. This was a wad that we found. Tire wheels up on the top of the liner. Anywhere you can think of, that's where they put it. So, some other things I'll pass around just so you can see that this all looks very, very, very authentic. This was another thing that was, somebody had a bunch of checks, social security numbers, credit cards, you can look through all that. One of the places they put it, this is a picture of their shoe. They made the arrest, they had fraudulent credit cards in the shoe. And then, before I go, I'll just pass this out. Kevin touched on skimmers, and I won't go into too much of that, but I'm going to pass out. You're going to need your reading glasses, or at least I do. This is an article that was done. A Best Buy cashier over on the East Coast used a skimming device to steal 4,000 credit card numbers. So we'll just kind of, you can read that at your convenience.
Square on the smartphone.
Yes, yep, you can do that for sure. So there's much more that I could go into tonight, but I know we're running out of time. Does anybody have any questions?
Catching them. We don't.
You don't catch them? Ever?
If our highway interdiction team, for example, would stop a car and have that data and that information in there, and they say, whose is it? He goes, gee, I have no idea. They can arrest them. We can arrest them on, what was the phraseology? Possession of a false ID and information. And they take them down to jail, and they're in jail on $1,500 bond. Okay? They get one phone call. What they do is they call boss and say, this is so-and-so, this is Kevin, I'm in Lee County Jail, and they got all our credit cards. They got some credit cards they think aren't ours. But the boss knows what the number is. He sends $1,500 over to bail me out. In the meantime, he's on the phone, he's clearing all those cards. Right there.
So he's using the cards that are confiscated to get them out of jail.
So if they take them to court, there's nothing on the cards, because there's nothing.
They're smart. They're
Okay.
smart. It's terrible. And just protect your social security. I can't say that enough. Protect your social security number. Protect your social security number. Protect your social security number. Very, very important. Before I go, I'm going to give out the cards. But when you guys were talking about sweepstakes and things, I always like to show this. I went and met with an 80-year-old gentleman And, these were all of his Western Union receipts, $30,000 that he had sent to Jamaica. Over a period of time, this was his money, his life savings. Like I said, a very educated man, and just fell victim to it, got coerced into it, and then once he was in it, he couldn't get out. So I like to show that because it kind of makes it real when you actually see this big, huge pile. So I'll pass my card out if you have any questions. If you've been the victim, don't be embarrassed. I tell people all the time, you're not stupid. You're not the only one. It happens every day. So don't feel bad about it or beat yourself up about it.
Did you get? Oh, yeah, we have a fraud word? Yes. Yeah, that makes no sense. It's every month, yeah.
Yeah, we do fraud alerts. The sheriff's office does fraud alerts. We just started a safety and security tip. That goes out on the 1st, and the fraud alert goes out on the 15th. So we try to educate because really, when someone sends their money overseas, the crime doesn't occur within the United States. The crime occurs once you send the money and the suspect picks it up. And when it goes out of the country, these countries don't care. They don't work with us. So we have some really hardworking economic crime investigators who would like to do things with this, but the cooperation we just don't get from foreign countries.
We scare you yet? Well, like Beth says, it's really difficult sometimes to tell people this is a scam, this is a fraud. We had one that was in Bonita Springs last year, and the guy had a check, it was $6 million from Poetry's Clearinghouse. And he wanted to put it in the bank, and the teller, we go to banks now, and we tell tellers and teach them, hey, listen, when you get a senior citizen, a mature person come in with a check that's way above it, and it's a lottery check, or it's from out of state or out of the country, trying to give us a call or tell them, hey, listen, it's going to be 3 weeks before this clears because it's an international check and blah, 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 and you won't be able to draw money on it, which is kind of a lie because the banks go, hey, you put it in, tough. And the guy, we went down there, we had one of our deputies go down there, and the guy says, this is a check that's signed by Ed McMahon, it's mine. So, now poor Ed's been dead for 2 years, but this man was so convinced. And we brought a laptop in and showed him, hey, here it is, here's the fraud. Just pull up all the stuff that Beth just showed you. We got them on laptops. No, this is my check, and put it in. Okay? And like she said, you cannot stop somebody if they're competent from giving out their money. I mean, you give it to charities, you give it to churches, you give it to everybody. If I want to give it to this guy, okay, no matter what you tell them, they're not going to be convinced. Internet security and safety, credit card safety and everything, all comes down to one thing, personal safety. If you take care of your business, you'll take care of these things too. Personal safety is just being aware of your surroundings and the situation around it, okay? I got a little pamphlet here that says don't go to ATMs in the middle of the night, okay? Don't, unless you have somebody else there with you. I wouldn't go there. I got a gun, okay? I can't take my credit card and receive my money and my gun at the same time. The reality of the situation is use common sense in your everyday life. From locking your car in your driveway at home, it's not because nobody doesn't trust your neighbors, it's because it becomes a crime of opportunity. You know how easy it is to open a car door if it's not locked and take a cell phone, a laptop, a satellite radio, $6 and change if you go in the Sanibel. You got in the glove compartment. Anything in your car, garage door opener, so when you go to work the next day, I can come back, push that garage door opener and come in. Okay, extra keys that you have in the console, might be for the house, might be for your neighbors, might be whatever. Don't leave anything of value in there. Lock your car doors, okay? If you have the little alarm, the little smart keys where you can push the buttons and stuff, lock that thing. push that button so that it goes beep when you walk away. It's locked. If nothing else, if someone tries to break in, the horn's gonna go off. You're gonna make your neighbor mad at 3 in the morning, but at least the guy's gonna go, hey, the horn's going off, okay? Use common sense. If you're going away on vacation, use common sense, okay? Call the credit card companies. Let somebody know where you're going, you know. Let a friend down here, a relative or neighbor, hey, we're gonna go on a week's cruise. We just found this on the internet, or saw a travel agency, and blah, blah, blah. We're gonna take off on Friday, and here it is, Wednesday afternoon. Tell somebody, okay? Tell somebody. We have, and I hate to say this, kind of gory thing to say, we have calls where there's unattended deaths, and we go into houses, and they say, well, there was one here off of Daniel Road, not too long ago, farther back toward the city. We haven't seen Joe Blow in about a year. He was mummified in his condo. But, the mailman never called. The guy that delivered the paper never called. They just canceled that stuff, okay? Electric was turned off because they didn't pay his bill. No one noticed that, nothing. Come on. You have to be aware of your surroundings and your neighbors, okay? We have neighborhood watch programs. You know what I tell them? Be nice to your neighbor, okay? You don't have to be on the birthday list and the Christmas gift list, but be real nice to them. My neighbor lives next door to me. He's a retired superintendent of schools, not the smart superintendent. The guy took care of the boilers and the air conditioning for 20 schools up in Rhode Island. He's got a tool shop in his garage, so it keeps my house in good shape. So I'm very happy to have him there. He says, hey, I'm going away for the weekend over to the East Coast to see my mom, and we'll be gone on Friday, be back on Saturday. Watch the house, pick up my paper, and keep the mail. So I take the paper, I put it in his front door. It's only 3 days. I get his mail. You see, kind of boozy, good. Put it down. He leaves the light on. He says, "Hey, park your police car. We drive by my car. You might drive in the driveway if you want, whatever." Just to make it look like I'll leave some lights on, etc., etc. And I got a phone number where he's going to be. It's real simple. When I go out, the same thing happens. I work. My wife works. My pool pump. It blew. So he went out there and turned the switch. It's just common sense. We're not, bosom buddies, let's go out and, toast the new year and stuff, but he's a nice guy, I'm a nice guy. I work, he doesn't. But the reality of it is, we watch out for each other. Now, I live in a very, very safe neighborhood. I live in Cape Coral. And there's a Cape Coral police sergeant who's 6 doors away from me. He has a marked car. I'm in between, I've got an unmarked car. I have a friend of mine who's a retired Royal Canadian Mounted Police officer who lives 5 houses the other side. It's my neighbor next to me. And all we do is sit out in the driveway and we look at cars and drive down the street. Okay? And if anybody there, like that. Remember that look your mother used to give you? We do the same thing. And I got to tell you, all you have to do is be aware. Personal safety is self-awareness. If you're self-aware, hey, I got my keys, I got my wallet, I got cash, I know where I'm going, I'm going to lock the door when I go out, okay? We have burglaries. We have burglaries in houses that have an alarm system that probably costs more than my house. And you know what? It's not set. Why have the alarm system, okay? We had to leave the door open because Fufu, the little poodle, has to go out in the patio. So we just left open this much, the slider. I can open it, I'm bigger than that, I can open it and scoot in. Okay, make sure that your sliding glass doors are on, okay? If you have other types of alarm systems, activate them. That's what they're there for. They activate for your car, for your house. Personal safety, okay? Where do we keep all our valuable things? Kitchen? Dining room? We all know the answer. We're our master bedroom. That's where we keep our valuable thing. You keep your earrings, you keep your ring, you keep your watch, things of value. You keep your wallet, you keep your purse in there, okay? When you leave, make sure that stuff's not out. Or when the bug man comes, make sure that stuff's not just laying out there, okay? When the carpet cleaner comes, follow them around, okay? Don't leave your valuables out there. Don't leave your stuff out there. Don't let anybody in your house that you don't know. We have distraction crimes. Somebody knocks on the door. oh, my car broke down and it's hot, my baby's in there. First of all, why would you leave the baby in the car? Can I call the police? Can I call the tow truck company and they come on in, use the telephone in here? While you're in there with them, perhaps in the kitchen, their partner's sneaking in, going in your bedroom, stealing. Okay, distraction crimes, in and out, no time whatsoever. Don't let anybody in your house that you don't know, okay? That you know. Get a peephole. If you don't have a peephole, if you look out the window, see who's there. Now, in a close community, like some of you guys, you know all your neighbors, everybody can go over, hey, it's Mary and John, hey, come on in, whatever, you know. But when the doorbell rings, look out there to see who it is. Don't just blindly open that door. You don't know who's there. If you order pizza, make sure the guy's got the pizza, okay? When the utilities people come, or sheriffs, everybody wears IDs. Everybody who works for any type of official company has an ID, okay? And none of your utilities are going to be checked from inside your house. All your utilities are outside. All your connections are outside. Okay? So no one's going to, if anybody lived up north, you remember we had natural gas and they used to put something in it so it would smell. So in case of natural gas leak, we have gas down here and they do the same thing. But no one's going to say, we smell a gas leak in the building because you wouldn't smell it in the building, you'd be outside. Okay. The reality is don't let anybody in there that's not supposed to be there. Okay? You invited somebody over, FedEx guy brings the doorbell, leaves a package there and leaves. That's it. Make sure you know who's there before you open the door. Okay? We have a program called Operation Medicine Cabinet. Last year we got 600,000 pills off the street. Okay? And what it was all of us were going to our medicine cabinets and getting pills that, oh boy, 6 months ago I had a back sprain, the doctor gave me these, but I don't take them anymore. What do I do with them? Don't flush them down the toilet anymore because it goes in the water table and everybody goes, hey. So what do I have to do with them? Well, each of our districts now has a strong box. You can bring them in. Fort Myers Police does too. I think Cape Coral Police. And you put them in there. Our guys come and take them, and they take them out. Okay. Once a year we do an Operation Medicine Cabinet, and we do it for 5 days actually, in different areas of the county, and then we end up with a big program. This year it's going to be at the school board offices on Metro and Colonial Parkway on October the 8th. And we're going to have a bunch of other things there. But what happens is we have to have deputies in uniform. We have some of our guys go in uniform and be there because people will come and steal the pills. Okay? They're going to steal they're going to break into your house. Now I talked to Mr. Mubar, he and I was living in town, we're both real estate brokers. Okay? I know I moved down from Ohio, I retired from the police department, I became a realtor because I wanted to sell $1 million and make $1 million in real estate, and I did. It cost me $2 million. So I went back to what I do best, right? Okay, some of us didn't learn that. But anyway, the reality of the situation is, hey, you've got to understand what the situation is in here. These people are going to come in and try and take everything that you have in any way, shape, or form, whether it's a physical thing, whether it's a non-physical thing like a set of numbers that are in the Ethernet. Make sure you protect yourself on a constant basis. That's all we're saying. Whether it's your ID theft, whether it's your personal safety and security. Bear responsibility for yourself. We have to do that in today's world. We have to be more aware of our surroundings, more aware of our situations, and we have to take those in our hand, okay? So once that happens, then everything's going to be okay. But you just have to take that in your hand and say, I'm responsible for this. I got to lock my own car door. I can't call the police and say, hey, we'll take a report. You could call the insurance company, they'll take that report. But whose fault was it that the car door was unlocked? Not the insurance company, not the police and insurance. Same thing with your front door. Same thing with your garage door. Same thing with your patio sliders. If you leave, make sure the doors are locked. You'd be surprised. We have auto burglaries are probably one of our biggest property crimes in Lake County. 70% of the vehicles are unlocked. Anywhere between 60 and 70% of the vehicles are unlocked, which means there's no effort whatsoever to steal that car or anything inside that car. I get about right out the door. Hey, how you doing? Hey, I got this. Okay, leave a laptop in there, whatever. Don't be a victim. Take care of the situation. Lock things up. Lock your personal information up. Lock your personal things up. Okay. When you leave, make sure you tell somebody what to do. Stop the newspaper. Okay. Stop the newspaper if you're going to be leaving on vacation. You're going to go somewhere. Okay. Let somebody know. situation. Make sure that your grass is cut, it's not high. Of course, in some areas it's okay because no one's there, the house has been foreclosed on, the grass is this high anyway, and so the county, October 1st, will start cutting grass when the budget comes through, I think, up until that time. So do the things that make the house lived into, okay? Another thing is, on phone calls, like Beth says, you can morph the phone number to whatever it wants to be anymore. So caller ID isn't as good as it used to be. My mom, years ago, when she lived down here, she moved up and stayed in the summertime up north, and in the wintertime she came to live with me. So I got her an answering machine, and I sent it back over to her. I told my cousin, hey, put this up for mom and blah, 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 and say, okay, fine. Like a dutiful son, about 2 weeks later, I called my mother. And this deep stentorian voice came on the phone and said, there's no one available, take your message, please leave a phone. I thought she had a boyfriend. And I didn't know. I didn't know who it was, okay? Because it's a voice, and the robocalls get that, and they hang up. They don't even stay there because, you know, they don't hear a real voice. So the reality of it is that you can screen your calls, and it's really great. And you can listen to it, and if somebody leaves a message, you can call them right back. And if you hear them saying, hey, Kevin, pick up the phone, you're late for work or whatever, I can pick up the phone and talk to you. So, and they're fairly inexpensive and cheap. So it's every bit as good in my estimation as a callback system on caller ID. Okay, because you can get, like I said, the phone numbers and Beth would tell you, you can get them more to a different number and you never know who's really calling sometimes. Anyway. It could say local call, it could be somebody from out of state. But we've covered a lot of information on personal safety, on ID theft, and things. Can we answer any questions in those areas? Yes, sir.
I've been getting a lot of phone calls like in the last month. It comes from numbers that are start with an 8, like an 888 or something like that. And they hang up as soon as I answer the phone. Is that leading to something else?
No, it really depends. Sometimes if a man answers, hang up type thing. If somebody answers,
They hang up before you even say hello.
you can get that number if you have caller ID or something, and you can go on Google, you can put that in there, and it'll give you a list of those numbers. And a lot of times they say, we're getting calls from such and such a person, or this and that, or trying to sell us something, or somebody says it's a credit card, something's a fraud. Some people are just, doing it and stuff. So you can get a list of those numbers, and usually they'll come up and tell you what it is. Some will be bill collection agencies. We've had some scams with bill collection agencies. What happens is, she's in Lee Memorial Hospital 30 years ago, as a bouncing baby boy. Okay. Never been back in for 30 years, perfectly healthy. Somebody calls up and says, and your name is? Dolores, you owe us $50 from 30 years ago from Lee Memorial Hospital. Its interest is $550. I'm a bill collector. Pay me now. Scares the heck out of people. Scares the heck out of people. I bet if I'll never be able to go to the hospital again. If I have a heart attack, they'll take me, they'll kick me out of the curb. Whatever the thought process is, your mind goes. Okay, here you go. Scary. Some people buy legitimate old debts that have been written off. When I say legitimate, they're no longer collectible for whatever reason. They buy them and say, hey, it was $85 for the time you took your car into the dealership to get the oil changed, the tires rotated, and the check bounced. Give me $300 now. They're not legitimate. They're just trying to collect it. They collect pennies on the dollar. And they do this time thousands and thousands of people. They're going to have plenty of money. Be careful who you talk to. Be careful. No one's going to call you up legitimately and say that. And if so, just say, give me your number. I'll call you back. Or look it up in the phone book. Or get on the internet and look it up and see who it is. You do the research. You make the contact. Don't let people contact you and say, hey, you owe money. You research it out. Yes, sir.
First of all, we discontinued our landline system. Our number of calls have gone down to practically none. But prior to that, when we used to do something, all you have to do is ask them, send it to me in the mail.
Oh, yeah.
And that will,
Cut it out.
that'll
Yeah.
stop it right away.
Just the sheriff's office, or police department, or Myers Police Department, all the fire departments, we do not solicit for funding, okay? We're publicly paid agencies. You already pay us, I know, but you already pay us. We don't call up and say, hey, how about some money? Now, we sponsor things. The sheriff sponsors the Hard Walk, he sponsors the cancer law, he sponsors the United Appeal, and stuff. And if you want to get involved in CN, go ahead, you can get involved and stuff, but, you know, he doesn't call people out and stuff. People say, we get called all the time, and we don't call, but people call up and say, I get them all the time from the Highway Patrol, I don't know if they got my numbers. Hi, I'm Joe Blow, I'm the Highway Patrol, FOP, and we're collecting money for the Highway Patrol Commissioner's third cousin's fourth son's daughter who was in an accident. Or how about those policemen that got killed up in Ocala 2 days ago? Did you see that on the news? We're trying to put together some money for them. And these people are very good. They make your heart straight. Geez, I really feel bad. Wait a minute, I am one. They don't solicit like that. You'll see it on the news. You know, there's a fund at Wachovia Bank, there's a fund at Bank of America, there's a fund at SunTrust. If you wanted to, Kevin Farrell's fund, you can go there and donate money. That's legitimate. The people that call you up and say, hey, we need money for this or that, there's terrible tragedies all over this world. There's floods, there's earthquakes, there's fires. And they'll call you up and say, hey, listen, did you see those poor kids out there, an earthquake and a flood? We're trying to get $10 for everybody. We want to get some blankets for them. Can we do that? I go, hey, I'll send you the blankets. Give me your address. They don't want a blanket. They want you $10. Just think, like, I have a boiler room. We all got these phones with these headsets on, and the white pages in front of us are going to computer just dial the phone until somebody answers and says, hey, can we get $10 for those kids that are starving over here? Can we do this? Can we do this? If just one person here gives us $10, and we do that 100 times a day, times 20 people. That's 2,000 calls a day, and we're going to get one. We're going to get money. We're going to make money. Okay? I can start a boiler room and have everybody work here. Just call. My wife thinks they get $12.50 an hour, so she wants to keep them on the phone as long as possible so they keep on making money. I go, honey, they don't make money from the hourly wage. They make money from what you're going to give them. Okay? Don't give them any money. Just hang up the phone. She's so nice, and we're all, people with hair my color and a little bit darker, we're taught to be polite and courteous. You pick up the phone, hello. Now, it's hello. Well, we want to do this, or somebody hang up the phone. I don't even bother talking to them. I just hang up the phone. Okay? And you're right, change your phone number to go wireless. They don't have it. We have a code red that you can put cell phones on now. Not on the landlines, but cell phones. And so anytime there's an emergency within a certain area, we can contact you. The emergency operations can, if there's a mandatory evacuation because of flooding, flood surge, wind. We can tell you, hey, there's a fire here, there's something here, whatever it may be in regard to that. We can do that. You can also put your cell phones on the do not call list, donotcall.gov, which is a federal list, and the Florida do not call list, which is, I think, $10 the first year and then $5 every year after that. You can put them on your cell phones on there, not just landlines. So you can get these people not calling you. I tell people, I lie to them one time. I say, hey, listen, I got your number. I'm going to call and report you to hang up. Just call them. So, any other questions? Well, thank you very, very much for giving us this part of your evening and listen to us babble. But anything we can do for you, please give us a call. That's what we're here for. And I do have some pamphlets I want to pass out to everybody. And just please, if you have any questions, if you have any problems whatsoever, if you have any frauds, our fraud hotline is open. And I mean, Beth and the people that work for her just do a fantastic job on it. And they're compassionate, they know that these things happen. So we're not going to laugh and say, oh, you got taken and stuff like that. It happens. Our ex-sheriff, Sheriff Schultz, his dad got nailed one of these Canadian lotteries. And cost me $8,000. So you don't have to be, like Beth said, you don't have to be the dumbest person like I am. You can be pretty smart to get paid. And you don't want that to happen. So please, anything you have, just let us know. Yes, sir.
One last thing, Kevin, I know that you're in charge of the neighborhood watch training. When you put a sign out, or when you go through the program, and you put the sign out front, is that any deterrent?
Does that mean what?
Is the neighborhood watch sign in front of a community, is that any
deterrent? Sure it is. Sure it is. Like I told you before we started, we were talking, we have several hundred neighborhood watches in the county. Some are very, very involved, and some are only involved when crime happens in their neighborhood. Well, the reality of the situation is, it's just like, I told you, my neighbor said, park the police car in my driveway and run. That's what it is. It tells the people, the ones that can read now, because it says neighborhood watch. Well, some of them can't. That's why they're criminals. But nonetheless, if they see that, they go, hey, you know, like I told you, we get the steely eye look at somebody driving down the street that doesn't belong there. People look. All you have to do, like I said before, be aware of your situation. If you see something that doesn't work, you live in your neighborhoods. If you see a car that doesn't belong in there, if you see people that don't, you call us. It's okay. It's okay. We do a lot of area checks. We do a lot of things all over the county. Call us, okay? Now, you get a barking dog, it's going to be way down on the list. Okay? I don't think I've ever found a barking dog in 45 years of doing this, but honestly, call us and we'll get somebody out there. And of course, the greater the emergency, don't be afraid to call 911 if you can't remember a non-emergency number, which is 4775. Call 911. Our dispatchers will put you right, our 911 girls will put you right to the dispatchers, to the zones and stuff. So, because we dispatch all from our headquarters at 6 Mile Cypress down by 41, and that's where our major communications centers and stuff. Yes, sir.
Is the office still doing the vacation checks?
Yes. You go on vacation and you want somebody to check your house, we have a volunteers that come by. They wear uniforms, they're not armed, they do have radios and marked cards, and they'll walk around your house. If they see something, they'll get on the radio and call for the deputies to come in, uniformed deputies, and to check to see if there's a burglary in that house. But they will come in and walk around your house, check. So, and once again, you know, in the summertime, a lot of folks leave for a couple months because they want to go up north or something. They don't like the heat, whatever it is. And many of our volunteers do too. So it's not as frequently as it is during the winter when all the volunteers, who half of them are snowbirds, come down starting in October and stay here in April or May. So yeah, but just give us a call, no problem whatsoever. Well, thank you once again very much. We certainly appreciate your time and attention. And anything we can do for you, don't hesitate to give us a call.
Everybody, thank you for coming. Devin and Beth, thank you. Very, very much. Appreciate it.